Hello, welcome to Flashback Generations.
Hello.
Today, Pete and I are going to travel back to the old world where
no, we're not saying the mortal realms, sorry, mortal realms. The future of the old world.
Well, it's not the future, Pete. The future is like 40k, 30k.
No, 40k, 30k is the distant past of the old world.
Alright, well...
Whatever.
Okay. Today we're going to travel back to the not so back and not so future.
Sideways,
the sideways part. Warhammer Quest, Silver Tower.
The Silver Tower.
The game's contents.
This game has quite a hefty price tag to it, but you get a lot with it. So for a GW game, it's pretty well priced. But in terms of what you get, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's tons of miniatures. You do. I mean, it's quite expensive, but this I think we've laid out all the miniatures. I believe that you get with it. Maybe one or two rogue miniatures have got in there as well. But you get a ton. You get 6 heroes. One of which is the rather large Stormcast Eternal, or Sigmarine, as many people call it. Boo. That charismatic guy. You also get You get a couple of elves, a dwarf, a warrior priest who comes with a free Griffhound. It's not free, obviously. You get this ogre wizard, or to put it in GW speak, an Ogroid Thaumaturge. He's quite a nice, huge miniature. Cousin of the old Warhammer Quest Minotaur, maybe. He's got the horns for.
He does. He looks good. One thing I'm gonna definitely give them props for. This game looks good. The model detail, for instance, on this dark elf.
The Tenebrae Shard, or dark elf, as we used to say.
Brilliant. And they all look like they're well put together. The mole lines are all well hidden.
Dynamic poses on the heroes. The Mistweaver Sai, or High Elf Wizard, is swirling about on a column of smoke.
There's a lot of pointy edges, and
you've got the Dark Oath Chieftain who's sort of smirking and just posing with his sword and axe. He's kind of the new barbarian, I guess. Yeah, you got the warrior priest. He's a warrior priest. He's got a Griffhound now. You've got a dwarf guy somewhere, or Duardin, I should say. Duardin guy with lots of keys hanging off him, and axe, staff, all sorts of stuff. You got the awesome big bad guy. He's the Gaunt Summoner.
Tzeentch guy, yeah.
Tzeentch wizard, basically, or demon wizard. He's kind of a cross between a Tzeentch wizard and the guy off Pan's Labyrinth. He's got no eyes on his face, but his eyes have swarmed up his hat, sort of thing.
There's a lot of these.
A couple of Skaven in there.
A lot of these kind of like beast men.
Zangors, yeah.
Zangor,
Tzeentch beast men.
And then you get a lot of horrors, pink and blue horrors.
And the new yellow horrors as well, yeah.
So what are these? So like goblins with loads of legs.
Goblin scuttlers, yeah. The goblins who've been hanging around the Silver Tower too long, and they've mutated into sort of spider goblin men. Goblin Spider-Man, I don't know. You've got the good old walking book, Chaos Familiar, he's back, and
there's
a few
familiars, isn't there?
GW's first ever fishman, whose name is Slop. He's a little fish with 2 little legs. Very weird, kind of cute. Would have sold big in the 80s, that one, I think.
They've
all sorts, yeah.
They've done well with the model quality. The cards, so I suppose you could judge it compared to the old Warhammer Quest. But the card quality itself is it's a nice thick card. That's not going to break. Yeah. Some of them are odd shaped. They're all. I thought they're all double sided. Some of them are double sided, apart from that one.
Oh, that's the entry chamber. That's the special one. That's where you.
So yeah.
Loads of stuff, loads of cards, loads of tokens.
2 rule books.
2 books, yeah.
A lot of dice. All D6s.
Yeah.
And GW is still.
GW standard D6, yeah.
Still afraid to leave the D6s.
Yeah.
You get a first player token. Cards, so these are like with them.
That's the map, yeah. So you draw them randomly to see where what's the next room. Kind of like the old Warhammer Quest.
Okay, quality, I guess. What I do like is that they're nice and big.
Yeah.
They're not standard size.
Spot them out
as your character cards. They're all nice and big, and
there's some holographic
whatever
character cards knocking around, but they don't come as standard.
These not standard size either. But these are your special abilities and
treasures, treasures and skills.
Yeah.
Some of the dice, the purple dice are the Destiny dice. They're different. The white dice are generic dice for use by anybody, and then you've got 4 sets of 4 coloured dice. which you can use to, these red dice belong to whoever claims the red dice at the start of the game.
I should point out, I didn't take, there's more content back here,
Yeah, more map tiles. This is not the whole thing.
This is not it, there's lots more here that you can,
yeah,
and so there is a semi-campaign here, so you can go through this. It says don't read it, until you're instructed. So you obviously go through quest 1 and quest 2, whatever. But it's quite nicely illustrated. A lot of this game, they're delving into the kind of the D&D kind of run your own adventure here by and then turn to paragraph 81 and read it out for everyone to read. So depending on your choices and things, certain things will happen, which is good. I personally like it as this is a single, a co-op game. Sure, let's go on and talk about the rules.
The game rules.
This is obviously a remake of a previous version of Warhammer Quest.
Yeah.
When I say remake, it's mostly a remake anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
I never actually played the original. Shame.
I did a lot, yeah.
How close is it to the original? 80 in a percentage.
I'd say it's about 60 to 70% the original. The mechanic of picking a card to see where you go next is retained. The gang of heroes is retained. The waves of baddies is retained. Unexpected events has changed a lot. It used to roll a dice at the beginning of every turn, and the wizard player did. And if you got a 1, then that meant A, you didn't have much magic that turn because that dice determined how much mana you had, and 2, loads of baddies would swarm on. They've changed it slightly.
The theme is quite a lot different.
They've made that a lot more complicated. It's all centred around these destiny dice. So basically, the base mechanic is each hero has 4 dice and he's got 4 spaces on his card. So beginning of my turn, I'll roll 4 dice. Okay, great. I've got a 1, a 3, a 4, 2 3s. I've got that, okay? So I keep those scores and put them there, and then to do anything, I need to spend a dice. So, and each action in the game, sort of move, shoot a spell, shoot a bow and arrow, whatever it is.
Interact with
unlock
something.
A door,
whatever you need.
Every action has brackets 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus next to it.
It's the value you need.
So this guy's got Reaper Gauntlets, so if he wants to slash at somebody with his Reaper Gauntlets, he's got to spend a 4 up dice to do it. So it's got to have a 4 on it. So you'd have to spend a 4 or more dice, scoring dice to do that. Then he's got, a very Age of Sigmar style weapon attack. So he hits on a 3 with that, and it does damage D3. So anybody who's read a war scroll from Age of Sigmar would know what that looks like. So yeah, but the trouble is, he could do that as many times as he like, except he can't because I only rolled 1 dice scoring 4 or more, and that action requires a dice of 4 or more. If he'd rolled 4, 5, 6, 6, he could do it 4 times. Basic actions like move and explore the next room are all 1+ actions, so you can do them with any dice. But the thing is, the unexpected event comes in. You've got these, which are rolled at the beginning of every turn. These are the destiny dice.
So yeah, it goes around in a circle for all 4. You got 4 characters, so they'll all do their actions. The enemies will go, and then we're going to go around to the destiny dice.
That's it. So this is the beginning of the round, if you like. So you roll these now. What these generally are spare dice. So if I want to attack 4 times and I've run out of dice, I could say, well, okay, I am going to steal this destiny dice that rolled a 6, and I'm going to do my Reaper Gauntlets again, okay? That's fine, I can steal the dice, that's great.
Then the highest value dice will...
Yeah, and to stop you chewing up all those destiny dice, there's a mechanism to stop you chewing them all in a row.
You have to share a bit.
The trouble is, when we roll those at the beginning of the round, you're looking for doubles. Any doubles are actually lost. So I've got 2 1s there. So we lose those for the round, they disappear. But the trouble is, there's consequences on the back of one of these books. If any 1s or 6s discarded, an unexpected event occurs. So if I roll 2 or 3 6s, all those will be discarded and an unexpected event occurs. So it's a little bit more complicated than it used to be. But yeah, it's still roughly the same mechanic a bit, but they've tried to fancy it up a bit, maybe unnecessarily, I think.
What I have a little bit of a gripe about this, I don't think it's got the replayability is a little bit stuck within those tables, these small tables.
Yeah.
If they had, here's a way that they.
Well, what you do, unexpected event is a massive part of the game. What you do is this adventure book has got 1 to, it'll be 60, sorry, 1 to God knows how many passages. Don't look at these, the spoilers. So unexpected event, you roll 2 dice. The first dice is 10s, 20, 24. So I turn to passage 24, read it out. It might be something nice, more likely something horrible. Roll a dice, something crazy happens. Suddenly we've got a book in our backpack we didn't know anything about. That's one that happened to us. You know, bizarre and mysterious effects happen.
But I'm saying that there's a certain amount of these events that just kind of will recur. They should have gone for, in my opinion, they should have gone for a card mechanic that, you know, in expansions, you know, I know they can actually make a new table, a new book, but
it is slightly awkward to roll the, you know, 23, 20, 55. We kept getting 56, didn't we?
Could have been very easy to just be like, you know,
another deck of cards, pick one.
Here's a card. This is what happens.
Yeah,
you know? And you know, because I quite like the first half of that. You know, the any double ones, double sixes, something will happen. Then it should have been go to this horrible card that'll do something.
Yeah.
You know, because I think that. We've only played one game, so I'm a little.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I can really state this.
Yeah, I need to play more. Definitely.
But I feel like you could quite quickly get through that if you're trying to play a whole campaign. Try and get all 8 pieces of shards.
It's based around eight games in a row, which retrieve the shards of the amulet.
I nearly feel like you're just going to go through that very quickly, as opposed to just give us a load of cards. And you know what? They could even start selling. Here's an expansion deck of just events, you know, whatever they want to do. They could really just kind of to print money.
Yeah, well, pretty much, yeah.
Like they know how to. You know, I think the mechanics are good. I really like that mechanic with the dice when you put them down. I think that's got a really nice kind of flow to it.
Yeah,
like your turn is quite exciting.
Plan out your turn. You think, oh, right, I'm not going to do my super duper 6+ attack because I didn't roll any 6s. So you start thinking about what you're going to do and planning it out.
It has a nice co-op mode to it too, because you know who's coming next and who's going to go first and how they're going to reach out and do things. I feel like there's a good amount of strategy there. What there isn't so much strategy, I feel like, is some of the way that the monsters react, perhaps. Like, you know, that's all quite vanilla. That they'll cast a spell or shoot you or do whatever.
But yeah, you get to the monster phase. All the heroes go first, and what we found, and we only played one game, but what we found was you'd explore a room, go into it, some monsters would appear. You say, I don't know, a pink horror appeared in one room, which is fine. And he was called a librarian, wasn't he? And there's some fluff to read about him and stuff like that. And then we just walked in and chopped him into little pieces. And then he goes into blue horrors and we chop them down. And in our first game, I don't know if it's meant to be rigged this way, but the monsters didn't get a look in, did they? At all. We most of the time, we'd slaughtered them all before they'd even had a chance to do anything.
Yeah.
So it was super easy, the first game, in summary. And so we didn't really get to see what the monsters can do that much.
Personally, I'm not a fan of the Zinch Tower either, like the magic thing. I prefer the original Warhammer Quest setting by a long shot. Now, I know that's a personal thing, so that's fine. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the way that they have their upgrades.
Yeah.
I kind of like the simplicity of it, but the simplicity is also something I don't like about it.
This is where, as you kill stuff,
you go around.
The counter goes around.
When you get all the way around the track, then you get an ability upgrade.
A skill, yeah.
So you're going to get it, and for the game, you'll have it there. Depending on how many of these shards, that's how many
skills you get to keep.
But I feel like they're going to be a big part of how everyone's going to play every single game, and perhaps in a bad way. Like, you know, I don't know how strong a lot of these are, but I felt like they're going to just rule the way that you're going to play your campaign.
Yeah.
As well as that, like, we played the one game.
We do increase the peril though, don't we? There's a mechanism where if there's no bad guys on the board, which there often isn't in the first mission, you get what you call a respite phase, and there's a risk of an unexpected event occurring. You roll the dice and add the number of skill cards you've all got, and if that totals 9 or more, you get an unexpected event or something terrible happens. First game, you've got 0 skill cards for most of it, haven't you, pretty much? So, you know, that never triggers. So, I suppose in later games, the more skills you have, you're more powerful, but the more waves of bad guys you're going to be facing. Like I say, we need to play it more before we see
I don't know if that'll make it more interesting or if this game's going to get more monotonous as you go on. But I'm actually kind of keen to see how the game does.
Nobody dies in this game either, do they? So if you're wounded, you take a little wound counter and you put it on one of the squares. So that sort of nobbles your hero a bit, because now he's only rolling 3 dice. You've got an action.
Nice mechanic.
Yeah, you've got a one-up action where you can just get rid of a wound, can't you? So it's pretty easy to heal up. But if you do fill out with wounds and then take another wound, you disappear off the map. But I think in the next respite phase,
then you'll come back.
You come back, but you're full of wounds. Yeah.
So what you need to do then is you need to actually start borrowing out of the Destiny.
Well, true, you do, because you come back, you're actually diced out. You've got no dice, so you need to borrow Destiny dice, which slows everybody else down.
I like the mechanic. That's a good
I'd love to see, and I will see, because I will play it more, how that pressure increases, on the heroes as you go down the 8 or 9 missions, whatever it is. But the first mission, way too easy, I think.
Yeah, we didn't feel like there was any threat.
There was no threat whatsoever. We wiped out all the few bad guys that popped up before they'd even taken a step.
But even by the time we got to the last bad guy, we were kind of like, "Is this it? We'll hit him up a bit," and it felt like, very one-sided. Especially we're quite seasoned gamers, obviously, but so we're used to having a good challenge, and this just felt very
it was
very easy.
Although we didn't see the Skaven pop up, they're quite filthy. I've had a sneaky look at the stats. This guy's quite horrible. The Golden Summoner, if he can screen himself with a few minions, he didn't have many in this mission. But if he can screen himself, I think he will be quite annoying. He teleports about the place and runs away from the good guys and casts spells as he goes. So every type of monster has a behaviour table. So horrors will always generally do this sort of thing. The Ogroid Thaumaturge will do that sort of thing. You have to kill the Ogroid Thaumaturge twice.
I'll tell you, I like the way they had, what's it, Beastman? Zangor, but they all have slightly different weapons, so that's got
they do,
two
yeah, they're all
He's
individual
got a heavy
weapons. And there's 2 of each.
They have different stats, so the shield guy's got more life and things. I actually thought that was quite cool.
That's cool.
I like the variety in that. So there is a certain amount of thought there, and all your guys actually do have quite different abilities on them.
Yeah.
Like overall, I think that the game's good, but I'm as a very seasoned gamer, I don't know.
You've been through Descent and
I don't know.
Well, I did Warhammer Quest.
I don't know if I can get enough out of it, but I'm willing to play on and see what happens. See if it gets any better. Let's talk about the future of the game.
The game's future.
Part 4, the future. I imagine this game sold very well for GW.
It will have sold very well. I'm pretty sure it has, because a few people we know have bought it, haven't they? Including me. A few guys have bought it, and a big part of that will be we sit currently in a little bit of a resurgence of Age of Sigmar. There's a few factors I think that have influenced the sales of this. There's that, Age of Sigmar is on the up because South Coast GT point system has been very popular. We just recently had the news about the General's Companion, whatever it is, basically GW relenting and doing a point system for Age of Sigmar, so a lot of people are sneaking back into that, including me. Hold my hand up, I am trying it out and enjoying it. Although the words turn to ashes in my mouth, I'm not buying the models though. Well, I bought this because I'm a big Warhammer Quest fan.
Yeah.
Me and my sisters, as we said in another episode, just played this relentlessly for a couple of years. Got so deep far into it, it wasn't true.
I've said all along I was really open for this game. I'm not a Age of Sigmar fan at all.
No, fair enough. As many aren't, but
well, I was very open to come on, I'll come back into the world. And for the future of this game, I think that I have a big feeling that they're going to do exactly what they usually do and canon after 2 years.
Well, I don't think they can after 2 years. They're not doing that these days. I mean, we've had one expansion already. It's a repackaging of 4 clamshell heroes with cards, I presume. You know, there's a corn guy, another dwarf guy.
When you said they're not doing it these days, what do you mean? Because I don't see any,
well, what they do,
any games that they release.
No, we see Betrayal at Calth and basically they're going through a phase where they're bringing back old board games. They're doing them in a big fancy lavish box. They release them and it's kind of a Dreadfleet scenario. It just goes out and that's it.
Space Crusade.
On to the next one.
Space Crusade, a game that's sold out, no expansions for it.
No, they don't. That's exactly what I'm saying. This will come out. They'll repackage some of the heroes. They've done some of that already. Print a load of rules for it. You know, you can get an app that gives you 30 odd heroes worth of rules. That'll be it. That will be it. I would think. Betrayal at Calth. This is a feeder. This is intended as a feeder into Age of Sigmar. This is your hero. They're trying to redo the Hero Quest mechanic for the. You know, I mean, you got into Hero Quest. Loads of kids got into Hero Quest, and it led on to Warhammer. This is the Age of Sigmar equivalent of that, I think. So it'll just come out. They'll dabble around the edges of it, but nothing major will come out.
How would you have this game? How would you release this game? A big box expansion. How would you do that to make it?
Well, it's easy with one of these. It's just maybe different themed tiles, like they did with Warhammer Quest. There was Lair of the Orc Lord, I think it was.
Could they go through a different god maybe?
Yeah, so
hey, look, we got
the Nurgle Plague Pit
Tower. The Nurgle or whatever, yeah. So then
the Green Pit.
They're going to release one every 4 years.
The Red Keep. I'm sorry, it's somebody else.
What's a great thing that they can do is release characters in White Dwarf and things. You know, here's your White Dwarf, and just.
Well, they did that, yeah.
You just give us a
funnily enough,
there's
one of these White Dwarfs has a Nurgle character card. It's the Nurgle, big fat Nurgle champion with the axe. They've done rules for him. But that's a PDF, that's somebody's lunch hour at GW, isn't it? Doing one of these.
Yeah.
I hope they do expansions for it. I'll be buying them because I'm a Warhammer Quest freak. It's not got the depth of the old one because the old one had loads of stuff to do in between games with your characters and you had choices. And
that's kind of one of the things I think that this game's lacking.
This is a dice roll. This is like, do you keep your skills? Yeah, you keep 2 of them. Right, move on to the next game.
Keep it. Oh, I want this one or this one.
The old Warhammer Quest, you wandered off to a village or a tavern or whatever, and you could go to shops and trade skills.
There's no journey arc in this game, is there? There's no.
You spent longer between games than you did playing the games on Quest.
That's what obviously. The old world really kind of made you do that. They made you feel like you had to travel from here to here and you're going to this warren. Here's a map of the whole place and you're going to do this. This game does not have that at all.
No, in this game, the fluff of this is you're prisoners in, it's like Saw or something, you're trapped in this labyrinthine tower and you're not getting out till you either kill this guy or, get him to grant your wish or whatever. The old one, you were going on missions for such a body and going there and somebody else, which was a bit weird because all these many varied places around the world you went to in Warhammer Quest all look kind of the same for some reason, because it was generic dungeon. But so I'd be shocked to see any major expansions for it, but I'd love to see it.
I think, as I say, I think doing another god could be the only way they could really.
Yeah. And I've no doubt. Well, I suspect that this is also a precursor to a load of Zinch AOS miniatures coming out. These Zangors, no doubt they'll be in boxes. These cultists boxes of 20 any month now. All that sort of thing.
They look great, yeah.
And these are like the Snapfit precursors to them, and everybody will be going crazy for them. I know one guy who's bought about 4 or 5 sets of this just so he can get a decent regiment of Zangors going. Zangors apparently mentioned in the 80s. I don't remember myself as being the Zinch Beastmen. There was Beastmen, there was Zangors, there were
Fimmers.
Pestigors, the Nurgle ones, they were stinky ones.
Fimmers.
And then there were the Rat Beastmen who later became Skaven, so on and so forth. So these guys are apparently coming back from 30 odd years ago.
So, going back to what we're talking about, how the future of this is working. I mean, one of its own.
The future of this is Blood Bowl.
One of its own drawbacks is.
And Betrayal at Calth 3, the return to God knows where.
One of the drawbacks is they're trying to feed it into another game, as opposed to let this.
There is that difference, yeah.
Like if you look at Imperial Assault, for instance, that's not trying to say, well, play this.
Imperial Assault is a never-ending cycle of waves, isn't it? That's their business model, and it works.
Well, why couldn't this be the same?
Because they want you to buy AOS after this. That's what they're feeding into. The waves are already sat there on the shelves.
So is that
like these? Why not buy a box of 30 of them? You can have an whole army of them. Like the old days.
It's perhaps
love to see stuff. Chaos
it's perhaps a problem, and I do feel
we're not going to fall for it this time.
do GW like fall over themselves by not looking after their own property? You know, that's sort of, it's a shame, isn't it?
Well, people still love it. People are buying it still. You know, they're not collapsed yet. They love
No, of course.
love Stormcast, dude. Why not buy it?
It's a brand new game.
Four for 30 quid or whatever it is.
This deserves all the attention. It's
it's a quality product. It really is. No denying it, and it is enjoyable.
Yes.
I think different audiences will approach it and get different things out of it. We're probably a bit too jaded, and you know we've been through we've been playing Kingdom Death recently, and that is such a culture shock to go from Kingdom Death to this.
Yes,
it's
Kingdom
like,
Death is
it's like walking through
puzzle.
a serial killer's abattoir, opening a door and you're in a bloody daycare centre for kids. You know, it's like it's like bright colours, easy bad guys. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, but maybe this is kind of like it's a good breath of fresh air for us.
It was for me.
It's a step back, isn't it? It's
Kingdom Death is grim. Not good. But anyway.
Yeah.
No, we like this. We think we've probably seen most of it now. Future expansions, God, I hope so, but I'm not holding my breath. But yeah, enjoyable fun.
Well, yeah, I guess that's our opinions about the game. I'm a little bit cautious of GW. I think more than anything.
You kind of bitter, aren't you? So
I wouldn't. Don't be thinking I'm a hater of this game. I think it's very good for what it does.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit. I think it's not quite deep enough at the same time. But maybe that's.
Yeah. It was worryingly easy, the first mission. What I'm going to do is, if I get any time, I'm going to try and play sort of solo for a bit. If I'm bored, and just see how one hero does in that first mission, because I think one hero could probably do it. Maybe have a bit of a challenge. See how far one hero can get, and then I'll have a better idea of the difficulty level. Another thing is the old game had a rules line for every single model in the Warhammer range, so you could bring them in as and when you wanted. You know, like everything. This hasn't. This has got Tzeentch, what they call screamers and flamers, and that's about it. So it could do with some more, you know, expanding the monsters available.
Well, seeing as the old world was every single bad guy in the entire old world, and this is one chaos god.
It is, yeah.
So it's very, very narrow spectrum.
Everybody's got parallel here. So you had spiders in the old game. We've got spider goblins in this one. You had Skaven in the old one, you've got Skaven in this one, only two of them, and they're elite, so on and so on, but it's all Tzeentch theme. I've always liked Tzeentch, so I've got no problem with that, but it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Alright, okay, well, cheers for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Cheerio.
Hello, welcome back. No. Oh, shit. I nearly had it there.